It's official. Tom Thibodeau has been fired by the New York Knicks. Who will replace him? And has he built a strong enough foundation for the Knicks to get to the chip with the next coach? Hit that rock. Before we get started, make sure to hit like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit the dark notification bell to get each and every notification for each and every video I put out. It's your boy Gmo, leads your Knicks. Let's get it. So it's official. Tom Thibodeau has been let go by the New York Knicks after 5 seasons as head of the New York Knicks, leading the Knicks to a 226-174 record during his time, if that makes any sense. Getting to the Eastern Conference Finals this past season with the New York Knicks eventually losing to the Pacers. But a guy in Tom Thibodeau who has raised the bar, the so-called Bill Parcells of the NBA, has been able to get the Knicks to be incrementally better each and every year, getting to the second, or was it the third spot in the Eastern Conference this year. After so many years of being indulgence, after so many years of being absolute trash, after finally getting this team to where they haven't been in around, since 1999, 2000, Tom Thibodeau has been let go, according to several sources. The team... this is a team decision or made by Leon Rose, who seems to be taking the blame for this. There have been some reports that came out that said that the front office has had conversations and meetings with everybody or every main player, I guess, on the squad. And this was with James Dolan in the room, which is weird. And they just came to the conclusion that Tom Thibodeau just was not the guy to help lead him to the next step. This is after guys like Jalen Brunson came out, or at least when he was questioned by the media, came out and said that Tom Thibodeau, he's been overconfident, blah blah blah. Which again, you can probably say the nicest thing. You're not going to say anything to really give the media any fodder, but it does seem to be somewhat of a change from what we've seen the past few days. Now you're seeing guys like Ian Begley who kind of put out fillers that Tom Thibodeau maybe on the outs talking about his future here. So maybe he knew some stuff. You saw some stuff on social media with some other content creators who put out things that, again, put on emojis and reactions to kind of sniff or hint that something was happening. But it's been made official. Tom Thibodeau is out, despite the fact that this guy has got a relatively whole new roster past 2 seasons. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Karl-Anthony Towns, along with Jalen Brunson a few years ago. But a guy who's had to basically try to put this team together on the fly and did what many would deem would be a bang job this past season, getting them to the Eastern Conference Finals and finally beating the team that was supposed to be, which they geared up for. The New York Knicks geared up the war of the wings in the Eastern Conference. The New York Knicks won it against the Boston Celtics. Obviously losing against the Pacers. Now the Knicks win game 1 against the Pacers. Maybe in a different spot right now, but it seems as if everything is moving fast. Now, according to guys like Sham said that his phone has been ringing, that NBA execs have been very confused by this, very perplexed by the change in guard. And I saw another video by yours truly, Charles Oakley, who came out and said that he was surprised as well too. It's funny how the fans, how players, and then how former players, and then how people outside the Knicks kind of view this. A lot of fans inside of the Knicks wanted Tom Thibodeau to go, thought that his style was antiquated, that could never lead a top offense, despite the fact that the Knicks were actually 9th in scoring offense this season, 5th in offensive rating, the best that they've had in years. But why count statistics? The people were just complaining, especially inside, talking about Tom Thibodeau wasn't able to elevate Cat and Brunson, how bad the starting lineup was, how they had a minus. When you look at the plus minus, had a minus for the whole season, despite the fact I'm pretty sure we had a plus up until that first OKC games, and things kind of fell apart. Also, too, taking to the fact that Brunson and Cat have one of the best pick and roll tandems in the league up until a certain point. Now, obviously, there seemed to be some diminishing returns between those two. Their chemistry kind of fade in terms of just their offensive chemistry together. So I don't really know, and it really been not a lot of color in regards to any strife or anything happening in the locker room. But Tom Thibodeau, again, is the scapegoat. He's the coach who couldn't get this team over the hump, despite the fact that it seems like that hump keeps getting pushed. The goalpost kept getting pushed for Tom Thibodeau. Hey, you can't get past the first round with this tough Pistons team. Gets past them with THJ setting screens by pushing people in their chest with his hands. Oh, you can't get past the Celtics. You're not getting past Tatum and Brown. Gets past Tatum and Brown. Granted, Tatum got hurt in the second to last game in the series, or third to last game in the series against the Knicks. But the Knicks still seemed to have control of that series for the most part. It gets to the Pacers where now everybody's expectations have all changed. Everybody wiped away what they said at the beginning of the season. Now you got to get us to the finals. Imagine Tibbs got to the finals to play the tough OKC Thunder. Then it would have been Tibbs got to get us over. Now, there have been rumblings in the recent past of that, the Knicks didn't get past the Pistons, he'd get fired. If the Knicks lost this game at home, he'll get fired. If Tibbs did this and that and this and that. And so it seems as if there have been things building up over the past few years. But Leon Rose is trying to build a winner. And he's been uber aggressive, and it may come to his purview or his perspective that he can't be uber aggressive with the roster. And so you have to go the coaching route, right? Trying to get back to the ECF with the same roster, possibly. Obviously, going to be some additions with to bolster the bench. But they want a coach that's going to be able to play these young players and develop them, and also be able to, and also utilize the bench. Now, there have been complaints. Obviously, Tom Thibodeau going to guys like Shamet and Delon Wright late in the so-called late in the series versus the Pacers did raise some eyebrows. Even with me, it's like you should have been kind of utilizing him a little bit more earlier in the playoffs. And then also I've said things with the young players. Pacome, I thought should have been featured more. He did feature Ariel Huck pretty bit. He got hurt, not featured, but he played him some minutes. He got hurt. Tyler Cole, I still don't think was ready, even though they gave this guy the second most or the highest amount in guaranteed money for a second rounder since Andrew Nebhart. And so the front office has a vision for the players that they brought on, and possibly seeing guys like Obi Toppin, again, who I think is much more of a beneficiary of the system versus a key player for the Pacers. Seeing him beat the Knicks probably rubbed Leon and Dolan's egos the wrong way. And they're just looking at, look, a lot of things are piled up, and this team, maybe not enough voices in the locker room that are vying for Tibbs. Even though, I'm not going to say it's him. Josh Hart back in the day did say that he would love to play for a guy like Tibbs, whatnot, and all these guys. Brunson said he loves Tibbs. So I guess maybe they're playing a PR game. I don't know what it is. But I just want to say, Tibbs, you revived the city that no one wanted to come to. No one wanted to come to New York. Phil Jackson wanted to come to New York. They tried to pay him double the amount, or they did pay him the double the amount to come over here. Steve Kerr didn't want to come over here. This Knicks team was in a doldrums. We missed out on big draft picks because of a stupid GM, bad front offices, bad coaches. You came over here in the first year you got us to the playoffs playing your stingy, aggressive, disciplined defense. Getting Julius Randle to have some of his best numbers to the point where now Julius Randle, he's probably still living off of some of the glare from that season, that All-NBA season, despite the fact that most people think that he's not that. But you really only think about Julius Randle largely because of a lot of that production he did with the Knicks. And a lot of that came from that one season. Tom Thibodeau raised the ceiling here. Got guys to be disciplined. Got guys to focus on numbers in context and spots on the floor. Made them play responsibly on defense. Try to raise a level in terms of, look, I'm not going to sit up here, fight through the screens. We're not going to do all the switching, even though you end up doing the switch, whatnot, as the years progress. But adding that discipline, adding that focus, adding that attention to detail was very important for these guys. People say hate the kids, but it seems like a lot of the kids, not all of them, but several of the kids seem to have loved it here. IQ, I haven't heard anything bad about him saying. McBride said he learned from IQ. RJ, a lot of these guys have praised Tom Thibodeau despite the fact that, you have some other guys who don't see him in a good light, but that happens with every coach. But Tom Thibodeau getting us to the ECF, man, has some of my best years. Again, I thought that this team would never be able to even sniff an ECF again in my lifetime with just how bad management. We're talking about Isaiah Thomas. We're talking about Larry Brown. We're talking about freaking Fizda. We're talking about Derek Fisher was trying to do things with people's, with his own players' wives and stuff, allegedly, girlfriend stuff, allegedly. We went through the ringer. We were hoping that Kadeem Allen could turn out after two good games. People were hoping that Kevin Knox was going to be a Kevin Durant type. I never thought that crap. The Knicks have been so bad for so long, and a guy who came in to clean it up and led the Knicks right on the door of glory, right there, has been let go, to Moses of the NBA. So I just want to say thank you, Tom Thibodeau, for all you've done. Now it is on to who's going to come in and fix the squad. Now, some interesting tidbits. Last time a major coach has been fired, Pat Riley, they tried to replace him with a high, flashy offensively minded coach Don Nelson. That failed, and funny enough, who replaced Don Nelson and kind of retooled the team and got the Knicks back close to glory? Jeff Van Gundy. So the next coach, the next winning coach or championship level coach might come from our current bench. I'm only joking. I don't think Rick Brunson's interested, but you do have some names out there. We've talked about it time and time again. Now, Mike Malone's a name that's come up, but it seems, suit to guys like Stephen Bonnie just tweet. I was like, Mike Malone is not coming to no damn Knicks. Now, it goes to say that, look, Mike Malone is an old school coach in many regards. People call him Tom Thibodeau 2.0 in some regards. But I think that the next coach, if it's an experienced coach, they want some maturity. And you just fired the coach that got you guys to the ECF. You fired him after all he's done. This is what I'm talking about, the perceptions between Knick fans, the public, the NBA, old NBA as an execs, retired players, and the current NBA as regarding the players. Very different perspectives. Some of these old coaches are like, I want protection. I do not want to get fired if I don't lead you guys someplace and I gotta coach up I gotta coach up these guys. They don't want to freaking play up on the screens. They're playing drop back against a bunch of 3-point shooters, and you're gonna blame me for that? So Mike Malone seems to be out of the question. Now, some other interesting names. It seems the one that people have been putting up on social media is Johnny Bryant, aka the guy who's now with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's also up for the Suns head coaching job as well too. Came over from Quinn Snyder's system. Has had some history developing players, namely Donovan Mitchell. Johnny Bryant. They put videos out there where he's talking about off-ball movement and space and stuff. Which is all fine and dandy as long as you can communicate that to the players and they follow through. We've seen this time and time again. Oh, the new shiny head coach comes in. He can't communicate, can't reach these players who now may feel empowered because they had some input. Not input, but they were, a good reason why the coach is no longer here, right? When the organization chooses between the coach and the players and choose the players over the coach, sometimes players feel overpowered. I'm a Manchester United fan. I've been feeling that since 2013. So guys like Mike Malone are probably not going to come. Some other people that people want, Quinn Snyder, again, coming from the guy who came over from the Jazz, talking about Johnny Bryant. The European style of basketball, which kind of flopped because Gobert couldn't catch the ball. Joe Ingles was old. Bogdanovich was broken down. Royce O'Neal was a solid defensive player, could hit a few threes here and there. But it's basically Donovan Mitchell on his own in those playoffs. So all that European style of basketball really didn't pan out. But Quinn Snyder is a disciplined coach. Likes to run the offense, likes his guard or his wing, excuse me. Seeing guys like Jalen Johnson does also like to operate through his guards as well too. That is a name that he could come off from the Hawks. Not sure. I think he has like 2 or 3 years left with the Hawks. But that's an interesting name that's come up. Johnny Bryant, like I mentioned, but he's a first-time coach. Will he just come and be a proxy puppet coach for the Knicks? Will the Knicks be running the show, the Knicks players? And from what you've seen now, Jalen Brunson, disciplined guy, got the Nova Cats, but then you also have Karl Towns who, let's be honest, under Tom Thibodeau's played some of his best basketball. Some people may fight me on this. I don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? I'm hearing people talking about Tom Thibodeau did not maximize Karl Towns, but then they praise Karl Towns' last few games against the Pacers. Mind you, he didn't take many threes because the only thing that matters nowadays is you taking threes. They think that Tom Thibodeau mismanaged Cat because he wasn't taking more threes, which to this day, I don't understand how, because he's not taking more threes, that's holding him back. When we've seen some of the best aggressive Karl Towns, the complaining about Karl Towns the last few years is what? He doesn't attack the basket enough. He's not physical enough. He doesn't post up enough. Once they do that and he's taking less threes, now it's, we didn't maximize the offense. Well, maximize his offense. Well, what if maximizing his offense doesn't lead to the same amount of wins or leads to more losses? What if there's diminishing returns in terms of wins? The aggressive Karl Towns you saw in game 3, 4, and 5 against the Pacers, he took what? Go back and look. He was 1 for 2 from 3, 1 for 4 from 3, 0 for 4, whatever from 3. He wasn't jacking up. That's a video for another day. Let's get back to the coaching candidates. So again, Johnny Bryant is definitely a coaching candidate that people are looking at. But again, will the players buy into it? Other guys, coaching names coming from the college ranks, guys like Dan Hurley of UConn, one of the better defending college teams out there. But again, college and transition over to NBA now. Dan Hurley has said that he's said this last year, I believe, that he wanted to, that at one point in his life, he's going to transition he will look to transition to the NBA. But will this team find it a happy medium with the guys coming over from college. And again, when you bring these coaches over from college and you have a championship team, this is not a rebuilding team, a championship team. It's not about coming in and instilling a whole new system. Again, Jalen Brunson averaged 26 points last season. Karl Towns averaged, 24, 25 points last season. Some of these guys have some of the better numbers under the Knicks, right? So a lot of things that Tom Thibodeau, that people poo-pooing about, they probably still want to do. Jalen Brunson would definitely love to have the ball in his hands. Jalen Brunson probably love all those off-screen curls and whatnot. Karl Towns liked all the control he had at the top of the key, could pass and look like freaking a fake-ass light-skinned Jokic. It's not about coming in and removing everything and instilling and installing this totally new offense that might put players in a weird position. You got to come in, I want to say necessarily just refine. You almost got to retool. You got to retool the right parts while not losing parts of the game that helped you get here. The defense, right? System may change. It may play zone, whatever. But the defense, how we played the Celtics, that same mentality, the same adjustments we ran, playing up on the screens, making the switches, not letting these guys live off screens. You got to be able to replicate that throughout the season in terms of having that ability to stop elite teams, right? So, again, Dan Hurley is nice. Another player, another coach, college coach said it years ago, Jay Wright, that, one team that he would love to coach would be the Knicks. Now, Jay Wright, Villanova Cats, you get a lot of discipline, ball movement. You get a lot of the fundamentals, right? But does Jay Wright have the heart to coach a bunch of guys who are getting paid a lot of money? A lot of the guys that he coached back in the day, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, they all grown up now, right? And they're making some good money. And Jalen Brunson's also he's looking at that clock. I got a few more years here until I got to get that extension. I better hurry up and get me a chip because I'm trying to get my money. So how does that fit with a Dan Hurley? How's it fit with a Jay Wright type? Another interesting name is Chris Quinn. A guy who's one play in the league, has also been interviewing for several head coaching jobs in recent past. He's coming off of from the Miami Heat system. Will Pat Riley allow him to come over? And also, too, how he coaches the Heat. Do we get somewhat of a freaking Bill Belichick situation where a lot of the acolytes who came off of that Bill Belichick tree did not find success, at least in their term? You only really hear about guys like Mike Vrabel for the most part. But do you get that with the Chris Quinn type, where the culture that you instilled and installed, I keep saying instill, install, whichever one it is, instill, you can say instill or install. Culture instilled over Miami, does that translate over into effective coaching with a Chris Quinn type in New York, right? Shams himself said it. This Knicks team is looking for a coach who's going to be a little bit softer on the plays, go to the bench a little bit more, right? So less playing time. These guys want to rest a little bit more, which I'm not necessarily against, right? Want to rest a little bit more, get to the bench more, utilize the bench. And they want softer voices. Guys want softer voices. No negative reinforcement. Be nice to me. Be nice. Be nice. That's what these guys want. So does it translate with a Chris Quinn? I'm not sure. Now, some other names came up. I think Bovada, which I'm not necessarily sure the odds really count. Came with names like Patrick Ewing. That's not going to happen. I mean, suits Patrick Ewing. The guy hasn't really been coaching since his Georgetown days. And that kind of ended off and not so great. I don't think he would be regarded as, highly regarded. Got Jerry Stackhouse, who I think should get a coaching job somewhere, because I like the concepts and things he's trying to introduce at Vanderbilt. I just think he should go to a rebuilding team versus a championship level team. They had Becky Hammon. You really think Becky Hammon, by the way, who had higher odds than Jeff Van Gundy, which I get. Jeff Van Gundy's like, making good money analyzing a game. I don't want to do that coach anymore, even though I would still put his odds over Becky, who poo-pooed and said Brunson can't be a 1A player. She's not coming to the Knicks. Becky. Let's not even discuss that. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting list of guys. And again, the dynamics you have to consider coming to this team. I can't change too much, but I got to change the right thing. I can't change too much, but I got to change the right thing. I can't change too much, but I got to change the right thing. It's going to be an interesting game of whack-a-mole for the new coach to come in and do better than Tom Thibodeau and get us to the championship. And at worst, get us to the championship. At best, win that effing championship. Again, at worst, get us to the championship. So whatever little philosophies, changes you got in mind. And it doesn't fall well with these players. And they don't agree with it. And then you gotta bring the new bench too, the new bench guys and whatnot, and you gotta integrate that. Good luck. Just saying, sometimes the grass ain't always greener. But I get it. Tom Thibodeau's old. He's antiquated. He's done. He's finished. It's done. We can't win with Tom Thibodeau. Blah, 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 blah. Even though if we win game 1, right, we might be in the finals. Yeah, well, you can't win with it. Yeah, can't win with Tom Thibodeau. But seriously, Tom Thibodeau, I appreciate you from the bottom of my useless, shallow heart. I thank you for all the contributions. You brought here. You revived the city. Everybody's doing this. Everybody's a Knicks fan now. Before you came, nobody wanted to be a Knicks fan. Nobody, especially y'all young kids, did not want to be Knicks fans. So I appreciate you, Tom Thibodeau, man, for raising the ceiling. Raising the floor, excuse me, let me say. Even though they say you're not a ceiling lifter, but you got us to be a respected team around the league. I still remember going back to Anthony Edwards saying that the Knicks don't have a good individual defender, but they make you hustle. They'll make you work as a team. Everybody's is hustling on defense. That tires you out. I remember Mike Malone said the Knicks run an efficient team, one of the most efficient teams out there. Jimmy Butler could put praise on the Knicks. LeBron ended up putting praise on the Knicks. Kevin Durant even praised the Knicks. We haven't heard that in years. We used to be a laughing stock. We used to be an absolute joke in the league. People didn't want to come here. People want to only come to MSG to show off, get their points up, and be out. They still do, but now it's because they're flabbergasted. The Knicks are good. So now they want to try to steal a show against our beautiful, august, improved Knicks. So salute to you for that, man. How Leon Rose and these guys move, Worldwide West, who, from reports, we're not really feeling you anymore. They're gonna have a tall task in front of them. And I get it. You're trying to build for a championship and get that chip here in New York. A chip in New York will probably erase all this away. But once we get that chip, inshallah, and God's mercy and grace, once we get that chip, man, you deserve a ring. Because we don't get here without you. You took all the brunt. You were the buffer. Leon Rose would not take a meeting to talk to the media. He did it one time. This guy was stuttering throughout that MSG special. But night in, night out, you took the brunt. You took all the hits from RJ so-called being sick and not being good. You called him out. He had 30 points the next game. To us losing Randall in the playoffs several times, 2 years in a row, essentially. I know he played in one, but he was hurt for the most part. You took the brunt. All the smart, slick alley comments from the Mark Bermans, for all these reporters, you took the brunt. And I get it. Sometimes they say they need a new voice, and I'm hoping it works. Because at the end of the day, I'm still a Knicks fan, first and foremost. But Tom, I want to thank you for your contributions, for everything you've done, man. God bless you. Guys, leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts. How do you guys feel about this firing? Who should be the next coach of the New York Knicks? First-time coach and Johnny Bryant. Should be experienced guy, Quinn Snyder. College ranks, Dan Hurley. Should it be Jay Wright coming back from retirement? Chris Quinn, assistants. Taylor Jenkins from the Grizzlies. Mike Budenholzer, Mr. Space Guy. Mr. Three-Point Guy, who kind of got a bad deal, I would say, with the Phoenix Suns in that situation. Who do you guys think it should be? It's your boy Gmo, leads your Knicks. I appreciate you. Peace, Luke. God bless. I'll catch you guys on the next one.